From the silvery deep of the beautiful Skeena and Fraser rivers of British Columbia, and out of the coastal waters along the shores of Canada's fair Pacific province, there come each year nearly 250 million pounds of salmon to feed a hungry world. The value of this industry to Canada is as much as $15 million in a year. There are several methods employed to catch these tasty fish. These fishermen use the gill net method, and here we see but a few of a total of 6,000 small boats. The tender tows a whole line of them to the fishing ground. And as each pair of fishermen approach a likely spot, they come from the tow line and prepare to throw out their nets. The gill net is so called because the mesh is so designed that when a fish swims against it, its gills become caught in the mesh. The net is cast across the current with the current or tide. Mr. Salmon, swimming upstream, heads into the net with the net result that he can't get away. Every foot or so of net, and thereby hangs a tail. The men pull in their nets when the end of the drift has been reached. They extricate the salmon from the mesh, throw them into the boat, and then they proceed to go over the drift once more. Very often, they keep at this business for 5 days at a time. It's a tough grind, but they don't mind. Here is another method of salmon fishing, trolling. Long lines are attached to these poles. At the end of the lines are spoon hooks, designed to look like injured fish. Well, old man Salmon goes for what he thinks is food, pits for a fish, only to learn that he's going to be the food instead. Just one poor fish after another. Very often the man has 5 trolling lines out at once. And now to what is called fishing by the drag seine method. This is just an old Indian custom. On the lookout for a school of salmon. They locate one when they see a salmon breaking water. Starting to row, one of the men throws out the net. This is known as shooting the seine. A cork line along the top keeps it afloat, while at the bottom there are weights. The boat is rowed right around the salmon. This method is restricted solely for the use of the Indians, and they carry on their drag seine fishing, usually at the mouths of specified rivers. The 2 ends of the drag seine have been brought together, and the Indians jump ashore and pull in their catch. To you and me, there looks to be numerous potential cans of salmon in that there catch. In open waters, where the catch cannot be beached and operations are on a larger scale, what is called the purse seine method of fishing is employed. These purse seine boats cost about $25,000 each, and the purse seine nets cost about $4,000. The seiner cruises about looking for a school of salmon, and once sighting it, the net is dealt out from the movable carriage on the stern. The man in the small boat takes one end of the seine while it is run out from the vessel. The captain steers his boat around the school, completing a circle when he meets the small skiff. Having encircled the prospective catch, the large net will be pursed or drawn together at the bottom. Thus the fish are completely fenced in. He's not just playing, but splashing the water near the open part of the net to scare the school off from playing hooky. The man in the skiff has a lead with which he also scares off the fish from his side of the open end. By now, the salmon probably figure they're as good as canned already. And so the winch begins to pull in the net. No doubt the salmon are doing a lot of winching themselves down below. Soon a Silver Horde will be drawn aboard. That net certainly is a real purse now. Look at that wealth of finny fellows. The basket here is known as a brailer, and brails or scoops up the catch to transfer it to the hold of the seiner. A pretty basket of fish if ever there were. The brailer is really a miniature purse seine net with a special release at the bottom to drop its load. A good catch by the purse seine form of salmon fishing would be 5,000 of these appetizing creatures of the deep. Down goes the brailer, and up it comes again to feed us hungry mortals with food that fills the brain. This is what might be termed fishing on large scales. The purse seine has done a mighty fine piece of work. And so, off goes the seiner with a tummy full of some of the finest fish in the world. In certain restricted areas along the coast, salmon traps, still another method, have been built. They are placed along the salmon's migration routes. They consist of a complicated series of nets, like a maze. Watchmen stay on duty all the time, and the traps are periodically emptied. The nets are raised by winches. It takes time, but it's more than worth it. Here in the heart of the trap, the men are hauling up the nets. The fish look for all the world as though they are completely tuckered out, or even dead. But as the water gets shallow, the salmon begin to object to the fresh air, and what a fuss they kick up. A tender comes up to the traps to convey the catch to the canneries. The brailer gets to work, and like a huge ladle, it scoops them up. Out they go into the hold. When the fish are running fast, it's not uncommon to nab a cool 15,000 of these fellows at one fell swoop. There are several varieties. Saga, which is the choicest and most valuable. The tai, or spring salmon, the next favorite. Cohos, pinks, and chums. The salmon industry of British Columbia provides a livelihood for over 20,000 people, and goodness only knows how many others are indirectly connected with these fisheries. And still they come by the hundreds, all kinds and colors. To be candid, they're going to be canned. One look at these pupils, and they appear to be an objecting school of fish. The most up-to-date way of brailing the catch involves this large scoop called a spiller. And maybe it doesn't spill 'em. There must be literally thousands at a time by this system. When better fish are caught, these fishermen will catch them. After the loading has been completed, the various species are separated and counted. You great big overgrown minnow, actually he's a 40-pound tai. The work is done. The cannery is the next step, where the fish are canned on the same day as they are caught. This great salmon industry of British Columbia has won markets the world over, And Canada is justly proud of the Saga of the Silver Horde.